need help?
Never grow old, Michael.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. Showtime.
Springs first blood. Springs first blood. Springs first blood. Springs first blood. Springs first blood.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan here with Sinister Scripts Podcast, along with my co-host.
Hello, this is David.
And welcome to another edition of us being fucking idiots recording a podcast.
Yeah, this time with alcohol.
Yes. So we are going to be talking about the second movie we watched. Yeah, you heard that right. In our possession/religious horror subgenre, I guess. And this one is The First Omen, which also released in 2024.
And is very similar to the one we just talked about.
Right. It's like, I feel like, I got to look at the release dates. This one was in April. I feel like they were very close to one another. But anyway, this one is a prequel to the Omen story that you all know with Damien. And how many movies are there? How many?
There's 4. I've never seen the 4th one.
I didn't know that you were such a big fan of the first one
It's
until recently.
hot garbage. I love the first one. Like, that was one of my go-tos in high school. I used to just love watching that.
Does it make you want to slap your kid though? Because he's such like a piece. It's like the devil. He's a piece of shit kid.
He's like a little, and he's almost like he's like on the cusp of being a ginger too. Like his hair is close enough to it.
Listen,
So,
gingers and daywalkers, your days are numbered.
yeah, no, but I do love them. The second one's really good. Third one's got Sam Neill continuing on with our Christian Park gag.
I need to watch. I don't think I've ever seen the entire series.
Yeah.
This is the only one. Which, if I'm gonna start watching these, I'm like, all right. Well, started with the prequel, so
Which
now
is perfect.
So now I can go through and watch like the original one from
'cause,
like
I mean,
the 70s. Is it 70s?
It's 76, I think.
When was The Exorcist?
Exorcist? I don't know. We have computers in front of
Oh
us.
yeah, hold on. Let me look this up. The Exorcist. I thought that one was maybe 60s. 73.
Was it 73? All right, let's see if we can figure out.
So The Exorcist was 73.
I'm pretty sure Omen came out like 76.
The Omen.
Or like something like that. 76, yeah.
Okay, so it was. So I wonder if the Omen was like on the heels of the success of The Exorcist in religious horror. If like that kind of, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, because I mean, The Exorcist was one of the first movies that really scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I'm not a religion person. I was never like, it wasn't like I was Christian or Catholic growing up, and then like this scared me. I was just like, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But
No, the first one, it still holds up, man. It's still great.
yeah. So anyway, so this one is produced by David S. Goyer, starring Nell Tigerfree. Wow, that's a name.
That is a name.
And then Tawfiq Barum, Sonia Braga. All right, we're gonna stop saying names.
Yeah, I was writing these out in my notes, and I was like, man, I'm gonna butcher every single one of these.
This one, the budget was higher than Immaculate. This one was a $30 million budget, so
Right.
roughly like,
Like, where did that money go? I mean,
and then the box office was 53.9 million.
yeah, but I mean, like, this is not a movie where it looks like, yeah, there's $30 million put.
Right,
into
it's not
this.
fucking Avatar.
So, I'm not really sure why it costs so much, but maybe they donated to the
I know why it cost so much.
Catholics.
Because the Catholic Church had to get their cut.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-tsh.
Take another slice of the cheese.
They got to pay the legal fees for all those priests.
That's right.
All right. Before we continue to circle the drain, let's get into the story for The First Omen.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off, and your wife is like, I'm leaving the fucking room.
She's like, I can't anymore with these fucking ass clowns.
She's like, I'll be back, but you guys are pieces of shit. All right. So Father Brennan presses Father Harris about a conspiracy within the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. Harris gives him a photograph of a baby with the name Sienna inscribed on the photograph.
Yep.
Harris, as he's leaving the church, is killed when a falling pipe splits his head in half.
Which was a very cool scene. And that's why I love these Omen movies, is they always kind of do this like foreshadowing of when characters are going to die. Because
Like
they
Final
showed
Destination.
a little bit, yeah. Because they showed before on the inside, they showed the stained glass.
Yeah, they're putting the window
being
in
lifted
there, right?
and everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the Omen they do. Like they kind of have like little things here and there that are gonna lead to somebody's death, which I always loved. So
Right on.
I'm glad.
So that's kind of our cold opening with just a, no big deal, just a quick guy getting split in the head with a pipe.
like we know some shit's going down.
Yep, and I should preface this one is set in the 70s. It's 1971.
Yeah, 71.
Yeah, so in Rome in 71, there's political protests going on, and excuse me, an American by the name of Margaret arrives at an orphanage, and where she meets Cardinal Lawrence, Father Gabriel, Abbess Sister Sylvia, Nun Angelica, and her roommate, who is Luz or Lutz. Is it Lutz?
It's L-U-Z.
L-U-Z? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lutz.
Lucy Lou. Yeah. Whatever. That's her
looked like
roommate. So Luz invites Margaret out to a party. It's like a disco where they meet a couple of guys.
Disco bar, baby.
Yeah. Margaret dances with a man named Paolo.
Paulo, I think.
And Paolo.
Paulo.
Paella. He wants to toss her paella.
Oh, my God. And we've already lost it.
And thanks for joining this episode.
But I do
Have
want-
a good night.
But before that, I had it written in my notes because I thought it was funny. When she's like being given the tour or whatever, and she like looks down a hallway, and there's like a priest sitting at his desk smoking. He looked an awful lot like Mr. Bean. I was like, is that fucking Mr. Bean?
What's Mr. Bean? What are you doing
What
at
you
an
doing here?
orphanage in the 70s? Sounds like a place Mr. Bean might be, though.
Right. Chasing a bee.
So before she's dancing with Paolo, she blacks out and she wakes up the next day like
Shitbag. She had
Yeah.
that spider on her face, which was creepy.
yeah. She went out and she fucked around before she was ready to take her vows
She was drinking out of the dude's drink. She was like, let me have a sip.
Listen.
And he tells her to eat it because he can't fucking speak English.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, once again, reason number 327 why you should never become a nun.
Right? And especially in Italy. Stay the fuck out of Italy.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, it just seems like there's just bad jujus happening. They're trying to birth the Antichrist in one, and then they're trying to birth the Messiah in the other.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is maybe they should just quit fucking with pregnant ladies.
Yeah, quit fucking around. Problem solved.
All right, it's 2024, right? Actually, this is 71. So
Yeah, so.
anyway, so excuse me, Margaret bonds with an orphan named Carlita, who is a little bit
Troubled.
Yes, that's she's being mistreated. I mean, she's being mistreated. There's no way
Yeah,
about
she's
it. Like,
being singled out.
they lock her up in a room, like the bad room or whatever they call it,
Yeah, the
and
bad
they kind
room.
of treat her like shit. And
She draws creepy drawings.
yeah, and she has visions, like bad visions of like terrible things happening.
Yeah.
Once again, totally like on par with like, why is everyone ignoring this? Like
Right?
this kid needs like psychiatric drugs.
She needs something.
I mean, I don't know what things were like in the 70s. They probably thought it was just like kids being kids, and they don't.
Oh, for sure.
But still, like this kid,
Smack him with a ruler and
Right.
call it a day.
like this kid was probably like bipolar or schizophrenic or something.
ADHD, some shit.
Yeah, so she befriends this young orphan named Carlita. Father Brennan actually warns her about Carlita, saying that bad things are going to happen.
Stay away from her.
Stay away from her. Right. She spots Carlita showing Angelica a drawing of a pregnant woman being restrained. Mm-hmm. And
And she says, like, it's a boy. Like, Angelica looks at her and says, it's a boy.
right. Like it was. And then that's whenever she was like, this is a really, what did she say? This is like really inappropriate.
Yeah.
Sister. And then like she walked away, and then a minute later she's on the roof lighting herself on fire and flinging herself off the roof.
It's all for you. Which was taken from the first movie.
Oh, was it?
That's when the babysitter like does the same thing. She's like, it's all for you, Damien, and jumps out off the window balcony and hangs herself.
Okay, see, yeah,
but
you-
this one she lights herself on fire before hanging
You're
herself.
lending there's so much more context now. It's making so much sense. I was like, this is like, I'm just thinking this is your run of the mill,
Yeah.
like demonic, like possession, kind of like an evil entity, kind of like influencing, kind of leeching out others.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's what happens.
But it was now it was a throwback to the original. Okay.
fun little tidbit.
Nice. I guess I just can't get over all the things that like bad things that happen in these movies that people are just kind of like, huh? She lit herself on fire and threw herself off a roof.
Right?
Away, children. And
Yeah.
then they're like, tomorrow, they're like, all right, now today for our agenda. Like, what the fuck? Did everyone
Yeah,
forget
like
that this
today-
bitch just threw herself off a roof on fire?
On fire. She lit up quick.
That was 7 hours ago.
Right?
Like, are we pretending this didn't happen?
And then she starts having visions of seeing this this corpse show up a couple times afterwards, like all scarred up and shit. So
Yeah, there was definitely some, I think more so than Immaculate. This one was a bit creepier.
yeah,
Like with the whole like the what is this where she like had the visions and it's like not snakes. It's like I don't know. It was just like all the like it was just like flashing lights.
Yeah.
And like it was almost like very like it's hard to follow. It's hard for your eye to follow, which I think is kind of the point.
It is the point,
but just
yeah.
like outlines of like the demon and like the jackal or whatever they call it.
The jackal, yeah.
That whole thing. Like I thought they did a good job with it. I thought that it looked good. Like it looked like the 70s.
Yeah.
And they did a good job overall with it. So like I was actually I feel like if I had to go like end to end of this one, it was more consistent.
It is, yeah. This one had some good jump scares in it too. They
Yeah.
tried like that creepy, like her nun outfit on the wall, and then like the freaking wind blows the drape in front of it, and then like fucking like creepy nuns like hey, and
That was a good one. It did.
I just
I
remember
forgot
this.
about that.
I was like, really? She just that's what she sounded like. She's like hey, and then like somebody like opens the door and she's gone. Because Margaret has visions also.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Exactly. So Brennan and I actually liked the Father Brennan character, like how he was kind of like this disgraced like priest.
He's in
They-
the original one too, so.
Seriously? Fuck, I need to watch the original
I mean,
one. Apparently,
they did their homework with this one. At least they, except the very end, and I'll get into that when we get to it.
okay,
but-
fair enough. But Brennan basically explains to Margaret that there's radicals that are within the church.
Yeah, there's like two different types of churches.
Right. Like
is what he
one
said.
is like good and
Yeah.
wants like people to like be good to
It's their-
others and
yeah, it's just
and the other is they're desperate to like
cling
have
on.
power.
Because yeah, they're losing followers. They feel like
They wanna bring people back to
So
the
they want to
church.
bring people back to the church. So what does that better than bringing about the fucking Antichrist?
Right. Like if we bring back the Antichrist, it's going to create fear and division
Yeah.
and drive people back to the church.
Like-
but if you think about it, that's not the worst idea in the world. Think about it. Think about today. Like what drives people to do things more than anything is fucking fear.
True, but I mean, like your arch nemesis, that'd be like Batman being like, "Man, that's a slow night. I hope the Joker murders the Quickie Mart
But
employee."
this is where the church fucks up because the church is so goddamn arrogant
Yep.
that they think they can control
yeah, he even
the
says
Antichrist.
That. Yeah, they think that they. Can
That's the
control
whole
it.
fucking point, and
yeah.
that's not just the movie; it's the fucking church.
I would have been loved to have been a fly in the wall in that boardroom meeting where they came up with that plan. Because what were like the first ones that got shot down, where they had to go with this one?
Did like bringing Beetlejuice, was that just that one wasn't good enough? Like, we
No.
could bring Beetlejuice in.
Yeah.
He's not real. Okay, let's bring the Antichrist.
Yeah, well, how
Jesus
about
fuck-
the Antichrist?
like yeah, how about that guy? Like Jesus Christ. Like if the Antichrist, the devil,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, Beelzebub, whatever you want to fucking call him, if he exists, that's not who would be my first like choice to like bring back willingly into the fucking land of the living.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is a long drawn out plan too, because it's the Antichrist. So he's got to be born. He's a kid and he's just, grows up like normal. So that's a fucking way down the road plan that they've got going on to get these people back to the church.
So in the original, you'll have to tell me, is he just, so he's like a normal kid,
He's just a little boy. Yeah.
but he does fucked up shit.
He
Is that the-
doesn't. He, I mean, like, there's a lot of like influence, like, what's the word I'm trying to find? In the original,
Is it like telepathic shit where he like tells people what to
kind
do?
of like there's like evil like animals that kind of do a lot of like some of his bidding. There's followers who do his bidding.
Does
and
he realize that he's the one controlling them?
No.
Not at
He's just a
first?
little boy in the
Oh,
first
okay.
one, but like he kind of sort of, but like it's not like he's going around stabbing people. It's like he's got like he'll have like a fucking Rottweiler, attack a person. He'll have crows, attack people. But it's like they're doing Satan's bidding anyways.
So he's
So it's
Dr.
almost-
Doolittle for Satan.
Kind of. So it's almost like maybe Satan's like sitting somewhere in his office, like hitting buttons, like, all right, let's get the crows coming, like hits the crow button and they come out. Like, it's kind of like that.
Cue the crows on 3.
Yeah. Like, you know what this party needs? A nanny hanging herself jumping out of a window. That's what he's doing.
All right.
So
okay.
that's basically what it is.
I'm gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to circle back and do like an Omen series where we
Trilogy.
Like, yeah.
We don't need to see the fourth one.
That's fine. I'll take your word for it. But
Yeah.
So we basically have the idea that there's like 2 churches. There's a good and a bad, and they want to bring the Antichrist to drive people back into the church. And Carlita is intended to be the vessel.
The vessel, yeah.
For this Antichrist.
Exactly.
Demon birth, whatever. It kind of that's kind of where like he leaves it, because I remember like there's like several conversations with Margaret and Brennan. And like each time he like gives her a little bit more information, and she's like, "You're fucking crazy. I don't believe you."
The second time he had told her how I believe he said that he believes that the girl in the photo is going to be the mother for the Antichrist and will give birth on June 6th at 6 a.m. Like, that's what they're
666.
666. Yeah, that gets brought up a few times in this movie.
Yeah, so that kind of like I like that piece, how it's done in pieces, because like it's almost like Brennan's like, if I were to tell you everything right off the cuff,
shit your pants and
you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
But like he gives her a little bit, and then she's like, whatever, and then like some shit happens, and she's like,
she comes back to
and
him.
then, right, and then she comes back and talks to him and gives her a little bit more, and then she's like, what? Okay, maybe you're onto something, and then like it's like as things kind of continue to spiral, she kind of sees that he's correct.
Yeah.
And like, you know, that was interesting to me. I like that whole how that played out. His character kind of being there almost as like throwing her like breadcrumbs as the story goes on.
He's figuring out a lot too, because he doesn't know everything.
Exactly.
You know,
which we'll find out even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during a field trip, a riot breaks out, and Margaret gets these like hallucinations. She like spazzes out in the fucking front of the museum or whatever, and
sees the corpse of what's her face sitting with Carlita on a bench.
Exactly. Sees the corpse sitting with Carlita, and then Sister Silva postpones her taking her vows. Yep. And says to keep away from Carlita because they see something in her that you know is not right. And I'm like, that's fucking rich,
right?
You old fucking cunt.
Damn,
like
Sister Sylvia.
Jeez. So she runs like as this is kind of progressing, and she's kind of seeing as something's not quite right, and she runs into her old FB, her old
Apollo,
Apollo, and
Apollo.
And so like, and it's weird because like he didn't want anything to do with her.
Yeah, like he was like actively like, because she gets out of a car, she sees him, gets out of the car, and she's like, Paulo, and he sees her, and he's like just starts walking away faster.
Right.
He looks nervous as shit.
Yep.
He's like saying stuff like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know," and she's like all confused.
I was confused at this set of scenes because I was like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" And then he was like, "Look for the mark."
Bam.
And then gets fucking steamrolled by a Buick. Like,
yeah, that was a cool death scene.
That was cool because I didn't see it. I mean, I did at the last second. I was like, as he stopped and like turned and then looked back at her, and then he saw the lights, and I was like, this dude's about to get fucking mashed.
Yeah,
and
he got mashed good because she runs over and she's like, "Oh God, Paulo!" Puts her arms around because he's pinned up against the wall,
and she
in this
pulls
truck.
him off and like rips his body in
top
half.
She's just carrying around this top half of a corpse, and she's like holding it like a baby. She was basically dancing with it, like, and the crowd's just like, "What in the actual fuck is this woman doing?"
Right. So and that's what I'm talking about. Is I just feel like I don't know, even the death scenes in these movies, and I'm like, y'all fucked around. Now you're finding out.
Like
you all like you didn't believe. I mean,
the signs were there. God damn
right.
it.
Like whether it's trying to Jurassic Park a Messiah or trying to like have a jackal be this thing's like brother and the father by like sleeping with its offspring. Like this is like some incestual shit.
Yeah, like and even watching it again today, I don't know if I missed it or what, but like did they say where the jackal came about, or he was just there?
I think he's just a demon. I mean, he's just like they're like summoning him, I think.
Yeah, I guess that makes more sense.
Like
when they show that part, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but these women that they're trying to like have be the vessel for the Antichrist are like they're like from the jackal. Like
From
it's
the,
like
yeah.
So then like it's like he's I don't know, man. It's like
'Cause
it seems incestuous and weird.
Well, it was because they said he has to like it's incest that he has to like do it with basically himself almost kind of thing or something he's related to, just to bring forth a vessel, and then that vessel he'll do it again with the vessel. And
Yeah,
that's where the Antichrist.
That's what I'm saying. Like this whole
It's
idea
very convoluted.
of like, this seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's illegal in all 50 states. I'm just saying, like, like that.
Right.
Like, why are we going down this path? But nevertheless, the church never fails to.
Freaking Italians.
Exactly. So where we kind of circle back is
This is where she goes snooping for the files.
right. She goes into Sister Sylvia's office and she finds this like underground chamber.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of files all labeled
Skiana.
Skiana. And so she starts going through those, and they're all these
Deformed babies.
Does this sound familiar? They're all these fucked up babies with a birthmark in the shape of.
It's a 666 with circles.
Listen here, baby. You go back to sleep.
Right. Sorry, y'all.
So, with Carlita is listed as the only survivor, they think.
Yeah, because. Oh, go ahead.
Right. No, I was saying, so she sees this and she freaks out and she takes Carlita and tries to they leave.
Well,
right?
they run into her room. They put the little door under the handle.
Right.
Shtick.
And then they break in and they take Carlita, but when Carlita screams, she sees on the roof of Carlita's mouth
The 666.
the 666. And so
Yeah.
she knows then that the baby in the photo that's the survivor couldn't be Carlita because the baby in the photo had the spot on her
head.
Her head.
Which, well, they don't find that out until she goes back to Father Brennan.
I thought she knew that. Maybe
No.
not. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
You jumped a little ahead. Because then, like, she hid the files under the bed, and then, was it Gabriel comes in, and, like,
freeze him.
he ends up freeing him because, like, I think they put her in the bad room. She has some more fucked up demonic visions.
That's the one where the chick that burned herself
Comes out of the room.
corner, like
Yeah.
all squelching and like
Yep.
oozing and shit, and like that
Oh,
was pretty fucked up. The makeup looked
nasty.
great there.
That's
It was-
there's your $30 million shot.
Seriously, it looked really good.
It
It looked
did, yeah.
really good.
No, it
so
did, yeah.
so yeah, he frees them. So continue.
Then that's when they go to Father Brennan's place again, and they were like to start looking through the files.
That's when they spread out and do like, hey, let's do some fucking detective work. And they were like, all right, this one's dead. And the ones that survive.
That's when she notices the mark.
Right.
And they're like, oh shit. So they all start going through the files. They find the one that's missing the picture, and they're like, oh, this is the one. And then that's where they're like, fuck, there's two of them. And then that's when is that when the memory hits her back?
Yeah.
Of the turns out she's also one of the vessels.
Right. And can I just rewind and let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about like this birth scene that she sees earlier
Oh,
in the movie?
you totally
I
glossed
totally
over that.
fucking forgot about that. But it's a
was
scene
so
that like so
fucked
first
up.
of all, like never are you going to be like full on like crotch shot in a movie for the most part.
Yeah, usually not.
They didn't do like they kind of like they did the camera work was really good and they
Mm-hmm.
were like as they were like kind of panning around when she was walking around the windows for the
Windows
room.
on the outside, yeah.
But then like the last one where they were like, here you go, like
it is.
legs spread, and they're like demon hand
Just pumps
reaching
right out.
of vagina, and I was like, that wasn't what I was prepared for.
All right, I didn't sign up for this.
It was not on my bingo card. Do not cross go. Do not collect
Yeah.
$200. I was like, and it was like, it wasn't just a demon hand. Like that bitch was gooey.
It was gooey, yeah. Not just a demon hand.
That shit moist. That shit was moist.
God.
Hopefully
gross.
Melissa doesn't listen because that's her least favorite word.
Yeah. Same.
That
with
was like I did not expect. Maybe that was a $30 million scene. They're like, we've got
Yeah.
a fake vagina, fake '70s bush with the fucking
With a
demon
demon hand
hand
crawling out.
Like that shit was gnarly. Like I did not expect that. But anyway, now we're gonna
Anyways.
fast forward
back to yeah.
to where they notice that there's two survivors. You've got
Because all the other babies were deformed. They were
right
dead.
Carlita who has the mark on her mouth, and
Yep.
then one more who has the mark on her head. And that's when kind of Margaret, I feel like, starts to connect the dots that
Yeah, her memory.
all the
gets
shit
back,
she's
yeah.
been seeing and all of the visions and all this shit, like, and so she starts kind of like feeling on her head,
Yep.
and she freaks out, and Father Brennan looks on her scalp, and sure as shit,
There it is.
the 666, and she's like, someone fucking talk to me, like,
Yeah. And they show what happens the night she blacked out. Is Paulo takes her to the little ritual room.
Mm-hmm.
She's laying at a table. They put a blanket over her head or some shit, and
Yep.
out comes Mr. Jackal.
Yep, and
looking for a piece.
Right. They realize that the orphanage leaders basically find out that the devil or the jackal will have to mate with his own offspring in order to conceive the Antichrist.
That's what
so
it
that's
is.
that's
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 what
the
it is,
that's
yeah.
the the ticker. And so Margaret has been brought to Rome as her half sister Carlita was too young
Too young, yes.
to do the ritual.
Which I mean, good for them for not
Oh
going
yeah,
that route.
great! Like we don't want to fucking impregnate a 9-year-old, so
No.
let's do it to an older. Like Jesus, like.
Fucking Christian.
So they drive off to get an abortion because she's
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing this. And somebody from the church crashes the car,
Smashes that car,
and
yeah. Right outside of a church.
right. And in Margaret's womb, like she suddenly gets like super pregnant.
Yeah, she gets super pregnant. Her water breaks, but
Also, that fucking like demonic dance thing she did out front of the car
that,
that was like 4 minutes long.
uncomfortably long.
It was, yeah. She like first of all, like props to you for being able to do that as an actor. To like,
Yeah.
like that was
Commit to
terrifying.
that? Yeah, it was really weird.
I was like, fast forward 30 seconds, fast forward 30 seconds.
I remember pausing it and I was like, oh fuck, there's still like 20 minutes left in this movie. Like,
I know. I did the same thing. I was like, oh shit. So when she wakes up, she's strapped to the hospital bed, and the cardinal's there.
Yep.
Who is like, I guess he's the head of this whole like conspiracy to birth the Antichrist.
Yep.
And he was that played by the same guy that played? Hold on. Continue talking.
all right, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So they start with the birthing. They freaking cut her stomach open, which was graphic. They pull out the little egg sac. They pop it. All the birthing fluid and gross shit comes out. Then, like, I forgot from this when I was watching again today. But there's a baby laying there. It's crying. You hear crying, but the baby's not even moving. And I had forgotten because there's a twin. But I was like, well, that's cheesy as fuck. That baby's not even crying, but they're playing crying. But anyways, and all the looky lures in there are like, oh my God, is it a boy? Is it a boy? And their first one's like, it's a girl. And they're like, fuck, basically. And then the second one, they're like, it's a boy. And they're all like, yay.
Okay, so Cardinal Lawrence it's Bill Nye, not Bill Nye the Science Guy, but Bill Nighy or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the same guy who played fucking the squid head on the Pirates of the Caribbean. Davy Jones, like the squid,
did he?
the CGI guy. And he was the same guy who was in Underworld. He was the head vampire.
I hate those movies.
Dude, all right, we're doing those movies. Those fucking movies are the tits for vampire movies. Anyway, sorry. I was
Anyways.
like, it looked like him, but yes.
Yeah.
Continue. So there's
then,
a
yeah.
boy.
They're the boys, so they're all like, yay! And they're all rejoicing. They're basically 2 steps away from popping champagne corks and shit. And then so she looks over to a table, sees a scalpel, and then she's like, hey, can I hold my baby? And they're like, well, yeah, you probably should. A mother should be there for its child. So then she stabs the cardinal in the neck, kills him, holds the baby. She's got the scalpel up to the baby and can't do it. She just can't kill her baby.
And who comes in?
So they bum rush her ass, and then she gets stabbed by her buddy Luz.
Luz, yeah.
Which was fucked up. I was
So
like,
she's one of the like conspirators
Yeah,
to like this
she's-
whole fucking monstrosity.
I mean, obviously the whole convent probably was.
Oh
if you
yeah.
think about it.
So they set the bitch on. They set it on fire. Set
yeah,
the
they're
whole
like
place.
they leave her, the girl baby. They're like, fuck this place. They burn it, but she gets saved by Carlita.
Yep.
And then it immediately goes into basically telling you what the whole plot of the first movie is. They're like, hey, there's this U.S. ambassador. His wife's due to have a baby.
Robert Thorne.
Yeah, this due to have a baby on June 6th at, whatever time, probably 6, I think.
6 a.m.
So they basically, they take their baby, kill it, replace it with the Antichrist, and they're like, here's your baby. So that's what the first movie's about. But anyways, then it like cuts to a couple years later. All 3 women are in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Father Brennan shows up and he's like, "Oh, the church, they know you're here, and that girl is gonna be special. They're gonna want to come get you." And that's the point where I was like, that was never referenced in any of the other fucking movies. So why are they doing it now? Like, why do they feel the need to make it sound like, oh, that little girl is special?
Right. So like that made me think like, are you gonna have another prequel?
Yeah,
in
is there going to
between?
be? That's what I thought too. Like, are they planning on doing something with that? Because, like I said, it doesn't come up at all in the next three.
And if they do, like the church is gonna have to end up winning and like killing them because otherwise they would exist in the original series.
Exactly. So I don't understand why they went that route.
I did like how he was like they gave him a name, Damien.
Gave him the name.
I was
Damien.
like, okay, now I
Mic drop.
see the tie, and that was the movie was over. So I see like the tie to the original ones. But yeah, to your point, I didn't know as much about that, but I didn't even think about that honestly. But yeah, how is this storyline tie in if there's this woman out there that can prove everything that the church is doing?
Yeah,
they've got to silence her. They've got to silence Carlita.
But I think she more or less just wants to be left the fuck alone.
And maybe that's where they're just going to leave it and be like, oh, she's going to die out.
I mean, she pulls a gun on Father Brennan. She's like, get the fuck out of here, basically.
Yeah,
so
That's true.
I think she's just like, I've endured enough from this shit. Like, I'm just going to live with these two little girls and be fine.
Getting into like the ending of this one, like we've just in a prior episode we've talked about Immaculate and kind of like I said we've compared the birthing of the Messiah. This one's the birthing of the Antichrist. I feel like the storylines are very similar.
Yeah,
I wanted to be more scared by this one because it is being like the devil, this Antichrist, the jackal. I felt like they missed so many opportunities to like, I don't know, show it more, there were some graphic scenes, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I also feel like all the jackal, it was all like an outline over like through the sheet and like
you didn't
the
really
one
actually
hand,
see
like
it.
you never really see. You don't have to show me the whole thing, but like
give me a glimpse.
I feel like you missed some opportunity to really like install the fear of what the
of
jackal
what's going on,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like they kind of missed that opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I like this one less than Immaculate. I'd probably give this one like a 5.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I think for someone who hasn't seen the original Omen trilogy, I will leave the fourth one off.
Yep.
I'm at a perfect place where I'm like, okay, I kind of know some background now. I can go watch the how it plays into the original trilogy, and I probably will. Like
they're on Hulu.
My disdain for religious horror does not mean that I'm gonna stop watching these movies. I'm still gonna watch it so that I can come here and talk shit.
Yeah. Get all riled up.
I'm not like I wouldn't like. There's certain movies where I'd be like, that was so like, don't fucking watch it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you if I think you should not watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You should still go watch this one, especially if you're a fan of the originals. I don't know. Maybe I'll defer to you on what your thoughts are as someone who loved the original.
I enjoyed this one. I liked it a lot more the second time in prep for this episode than because the first time I watched it, I was kind of like working, and so like there were parts where like I didn't catch. Whereas this time, like my attention was 100% focused on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll give it a 6. Like it's solid. They did a good job with it. Like I said, the ending part didn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of the other trilogy.
Can you look past that little?
But I can look past it because you never know. Maybe they might do something with that.
Well, it wasn't
I don't know.
like some other prequels. It wasn't like completely contradicting.
Exactly.
So it was enough. Like it was they focused it enough to make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like being the prequel to like one of the best horror movies in my opinion, like the first one, like I liked how they actually made a movie to explain all that stuff. Because the first one, it just basically starts out like, oh, here's your baby.
Was given,
and like Father Brennan is trying to help the dude, and he's slowly giving him what the hell is on the up and up. So, and then
sounds like Father Brennan's got a lot of the answers.
Yeah. He's just can't tell everybody at once
because they'll never believe it.
He's a jerk.
So, all right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our episode of The First Omen. I hope you enjoyed our breakdown of the film. And if you've seen it, let us know. Let us know what you thought of the movie. You can always follow us on TikTok at Sinister Scripts Podcast. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Sinister Scripts. You can also listen to the podcast anywhere that you get your podcast needs. And if you like the episode, thank you very much.
Yes,
if
thank
not, fuck you.
Fuck off.
There's many podcasts for you. Maybe we're not for you. That's fine.
But we should be.
But we should be, exactly. So thank you for tuning in.
Yes,
and we
thanks,
love you
guys.
guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.